Welcome back to my channel. It's your favorite nosy internet bestie, loves the tea. Today's story features yet another gentleman expressing poor behavior in his marriage. My 25 female husband, 27 male, wants a paternity test on our son. My husband and I have been together for 6 years, married for 3. Our relationship has always had a bit of trust issues from both sides. Already, red flag. Already. I figured no one is perfect and it never seemed that big of a problem. But obviously, now that this situation has come up, I feel like I've missed a huge red flag. And by the way, this is relevant. I am white and my husband is black. We had our first child 2 years ago. Things were great. My husband is a wonderful father and very involved and supportive. That's good to hear. Our daughter looks like the perfect mix of the two of us. Our daughter was a planned pregnancy, but our son, not so. Although we were pretty careless with protection around the time I conceived. My husband was just as great during the pregnancy and did a lot with our daughter to give me breaks while I was sick. He took the week of my due date off and pampered me the whole time. Literally, the minute he saw our son, that all changed. He actually walked out of the delivery room. Why? Why'd he do that? I wasn't really focused on him at the moment, but it was tearing me up until I saw him again, which was when he brought our daughter to visit. He basically ignored me and our son the whole time. I knew something was wrong, but I really couldn't figure it out. I thought maybe he had been hit with crazy new father-son feelings and was wrestling with them, so I left him alone for a while. Finally, last night I asked him what was going on and he said he'd email me. What do you mean email you? You're emailing your wife? What? Why are you emailing your wife? Because he was too angry to talk about it. This morning, I received his email, and it was basically saying our son is a white baby and he is clearly not the father. He told me he won't be involved in me and our son's life until he gets a paternity test proving he is the father. This blew me away. I haven't told anyone I know yet because it's so new. I am kind of hoping he's being a crazy dad and we'll laugh about this soon, so I don't want to tell anyone and taint their image of him. Okay, first of all, if you have to hide his behavior from other people, there's more to this that you're not telling. This seems like non physical abuse. I bet you he's a narcissist, and I bet you he's keeping you from your friends and family. I bet you. Just the fact that you want to hide his behavior is rubbing me the wrong way. At the same time, I am pissed because he is saying he thinks I cheated and he can't even talk to me about it. And right now, I think he's really stupid. Our son is much lighter than our daughter, but he still looks like his dad. I am not doing the test, but I don't know how to reply to his email other than a big fuck you. I feel like I have no say. I feel like if I say no, he will just divorce me. So let him. So what? I mean, at this point, what you got to lose? And I don't want this to tear up an otherwise happy family. I don't think you're a happy family. Well, let's get into the update. Sorry if that post left out important details. I see I did last time. I'm just busy. Just to clarify, so many people seem to focus on neither of us have cheated. By the trust issues, I meant unwarranted jealousy, I guess. For example, we used to have a rule about not hanging out with opposite sex friends alone, but that was when I was 19. The rule has basically ended as long as my husband knows about it. Now it's mostly him getting nervous if I take too long to answer texts or something. Okay, no. Well, I answered the email with a simple son is your son. We will talk about it when you get home. My husband came home that night completely different than he had been in the 2 weeks our son has been home. He actually picked him up and talked to him, which was the first time he had done so. I was doing a little art project with our daughter and it was dinner time, so we didn't have a chance to talk until she was in bed. Based on the advice here, I had been prepared to discuss why he immediately went to cheating and the consent on the test. Then he told me he had already done the test the first day our son was home. But when the results came back for him being the father, he was still paranoid about me cheating now that the birth had planted that seed. So he sent me the email basically hoping I would confess. I knew he was a narcissist. I knew it. I knew it because what kind of mind game is that? When I didn't, he decided finally, okay, to trust me. And that's why he was much more pleasant. I told him I want couples therapy and he said no, which is what he always says when I have asked in the past. And I wanted to say I would leave him if he didn't, but the reality is I really can't raise a toddler and an infant by myself. And I don't want to have to split custody. Where is your family? I don't hear about your family in all of this. Is he keeping you from them? Our holidays were pretty much ruined. I could barely look at him, but luckily it was our son's first out and I had an excuse to be busy. This morning before our daughter was awake, he actually did apologize and said he could see how much everything was hurting me and if I wanted to do therapy, he would do it. I said, okay. So I feel like the time to say this was 2 days ago. I didn't mean to hold a grudge, but I feel like I just don't love him anymore. Oh, okay. Well, that says a lot. If you don't feel like you love him anymore, this is not going to work. Always wanting me to tell him where I was and who I was going with was one thing, but accusing me of cheating and denying our son is a whole different thing. He's been a great dad since the convo, but it's like 2 weeks too late. Not the update I was hoping to give. I wanted him to come here with flowers and apologize and say he didn't need the test, but we'll go to therapy and see how it goes. Well, here's the last update. It's been a year since my last post and so much has changed. My ex and I are no longer together. Good for you. He bailed on the therapy at multiple points and his behavior became more and more unstable. I told his mom and she tried to talk to him about it. In response, he moved out and basically disappeared. We are not divorced, but we have no contact. The longer we spent apart, the more I realized how free I felt. I knew it. I downplayed his issues a lot in my posts because I was still stuck in it. I was not allowed to leave the house, hardly at all, while caring for our daughter. I have no friends and limited contact with my family. And even though he had his good moments, he was just horribly mean in the most underhanded way, telling me I was eating too much, asking why I hadn't showered that day because I smelled. I didn't. Making comments about hoping our daughter didn't grow up to be just like me. It was never that he hit me or screamed at me or even got mad, so it never felt like that big of a deal to me until I had space. That alone is a huge red flag. A good and supportive husband will never tell you things like that. My kids are doing great. My daughter misses her dad a lot. He really did treat her well, but I know she's better off without him. His mom is still a huge part of our lives, and that helps. I've started working and she watches my kids during the day. I'm glad they aren't completely losing that side of the family. I love my job, talking to my family often, and being able to just go to the store without being interrogated. It was difficult at first to adjust, but now I wouldn't go back for anything. We aren't divorced. You should divorce him for abandonment. You can do that. And I don't have a custody agreement, which I know I need to do. It took me this long to really feel stable and able to tackle it, but it's my next step. I hope this helps at least one person recognize that they might not be in as good of a relationship as they think. Girl, divorce this man for abandonment and make sure you get full custody and put him on child support. Because what do you mean he just up and disappeared because you wanted therapy? Of course you need couples therapy. What? This is like not a normal situation. This doesn't happen in everyday life, unless there's real suspicions. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me on episode 2 of Things I Find on the Internet. Consider subscribing so you can join me and you don't miss another episode of me just being nosy because my life is boring and I'm getting ready to be all up in your business.